All right, so in this video, we're going to go over the 2 branding mistakes that are keeping your clothing brand stuck under 10K per month. And essentially, these are 2 big issues that I see in the clothing brand space. 99% of brands are going to be making one of these 2 mistakes. And so stick around to find out exactly what those are and how you can fix them for your brand. But if you haven't yet, subscribe for more, because every week I drop 2 or 3 videos on all of the different things that have helped me grow my brand to millions per year, get us our silver Shopify bag, and land us on the Inc. 5000 list for 2025. So hit the subscribe button. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is first show you exactly what the quote unquote nOrMiE brands do versus what a legacy brand does. And I call nOrMiE brands because they're ran by people who aren't actually interested in building a clothing brand. They're more so interested in making money off of a clothing brand. And I'm going to show you exactly why that is. Break them down. If this is one of you, if one of these is you, then that's fine. We're going to figure out how to make this not you based on how your brand is branding itself. So for this, nOrMiE number 1 is essentially a person who niches down too much. And then nOrMiE number 2 is a person who doesn't niche down at all. And niching down isn't the most important thing. In fact, when you try and go after or market towards a niche, you're not necessarily saying that you're part of that niche. It's just you embed yourself in those communities. And that's actually the problem that nOrMiE number 1 is having over here. So nOrMiE number 1, they spend their time proclaiming that they're in a niche versus actually serving the niche. And so what that means is, if I zoom in, you'll see that like this brand basically says like surf, skate, snow clothing brand, right? They're telling you what they are versus just being a good brand and being in the niche, right? You don't need to show someone snowboarding or skating or tell people that you're a skate clothing brand in order to be in the niche of skate clothing brands. And in fact, most of the brands that are, for example, really big in skating, they don't even say anything about it. Right? They just are embedded in that community by doing things that I'm about to show you down below. Now, they usually have some sort of like on the nose branding or name where it like literally tells you the brand in the actual name, right? And that's, like I said, just sounds kind of like extra. They try and show off the niche activity more than the actual purpose of the activity. So like the feelings around the activity are what you're trying to show in your content. You're not so much trying to show the activity itself, if you see what I'm saying. Because that's basically like wearing the niche on your sleeve as if you're like one of those people at a party that don't know how to stop talking about their interests, right? Their interests that no one really cares about. As harsh as that sounds, that's what nOrMiE number 1 is doing. It's a person who came into this niche. They want to make money off of the niche. And because they're trying so hard to like show that I'm part of the skate community, I buy my stuff because it's for skateboarding, they sound like that person who just can't stop talking. Number 2, nOrMiE number 2. This is a person who tries to speak to everyone, and so they literally speak to no one, right? If you don't have a specific person in mind who you're trying to speak to, who you're trying to show that your brand is part of their world, you won't be able to land with anybody. It won't work. There's no one to hear you, right? And so what that makes them do is it makes them rely on all of the like trending products and trending content that's out there. And so they're constantly on this rat race of trying to find the trending stuff. And so when they find that, they act on it, but like a million other people are acting on it because it's super easy to just find trends and chase trends all day. But it's not very easy to actually build what I'm about to show you in the legacy brand, which is an actual world around your brand. So another thing that's really funny that I noticed that these people do is they always have some sort of like Harry Potter length about section that really doesn't say anything. It's just kind of like people who want to get it or like better themselves, or we're all about individuality, show your individuality. That doesn't mean anything. Like that's not like substance for your brand. And what that tells me is that it's usually some sort of like ego-based like thing just to like tell their friends and family that they have some sort of brand, or you're just trying to make a quick buck off of the clothing brand. And Neither of those are going to make you successful in the long run. Maybe you can get a couple $1,000s just by like running Facebook ads or something like that if your product actually hits a trend. But the thing is, whether you're nOrMiE number 1 or nOrMiE number 2, you're never going to be building a legacy brand. You're never going to be building something that has the longevity that people actually want. You're never going to be able to find the time freedom that people actually want. And realistically, most of the brands that are following these two blueprints right here, they're going to be out of business in like 2 years, because I've been here long enough in my space, and I've seen companies that do this, both of these two things, and they come and go within 2-3 years. And that's about where a lot of these brands are going to land. So if you don't want to be this, if you are this right now and you don't want to be this, or maybe you're just starting, this is exactly what you need to do. I'm going to show you how to actually build your brand up to be a legacy brand. Now, before I do that, I want to work one-on-one with me, or you want to learn more about how you can build your brand up to be a legacy brand, I have a free bootcamp that is in the description. You just click the link, work one-on-one with me, and you'll be able to find my free bootcamp on that page, so that you can just get all of the information that's needed all in one place on how to build your brand into a legacy brand and stop marketing like a nOrMiE. So let's break down what a legacy brand does and why it's different. Legacy brands, they're just a good clothing brand. They just pride themselves on making the best designs that you as a creative creates. And a lot of brands end up being known for something, right? They end up being known for a specific product. And it's not that they keep rinsing and repeating that, but they use that to their advantage, and they build around that and become part of a community using that product. And the niche that they're in is made by making content for and speaking to a niche consumer. They specifically try to carve out a specific consumer that already exists, and they market to that person only. Like, they don't talk to anybody else. And in fact, your branding should pretty much be a filter and tell people who aren't part of that community that this brand is not for you, essentially. And it shows individuals achieving the purpose of the niche activities. So if it is a skate brand, for example, right, it's showing more of the community aspect and the friendship aspect of skating. Of course, there's people who are skating, but you'll notice that a lot of them are actually just collab posts from people who make skate content. So this person right here, he's making a skate video, but he's wearing this person's brand, essentially. And this is really important because these brands don't try to fit into the niche. Rather, they focus on embedding themselves into the niche world. And one of the ways of doing that, obviously, is by using micro-influencers or large influencers to create content for you and do collab posts and things like that. But more so, they really try to find out what the consumer really likes to do and really does, and they speak to those things. And they spend all of their time thinking about creating for and attracting their perfect consumer. That's all they do all day. These two brands have created their own little worlds that attract people who are in that consumer profile. So skaters, for example, in this case, for this brand over here, it's actually a Midwest brand, and they really speak to like people who are from the Midwest, myself included. So that's why I threw this in there, because this is one of those brands that draw my attention because I'm from the Midwest. And so these two brands focus only on that. This brand right here, the skate brand, it's not for people who are outside of the skate community for the most part, right? You can wear it or whatever, but the people who are wearing butter goods, for example, are probably going to be people who are skaters because they're so embedded in that space. And they're one of the faster growing companies, from what it seems like when I did my research, in that space. Now, the biggest difference you can tell when you're in a niche versus trying to become part of a niche is this brand doesn't say like skate brand. It doesn't say that. The way that it speaks to the niche, this is probably the biggest takeaway before I wrap this video up. The biggest takeaway is that you niche yourself down by making content that speaks to the niche consumer. It's not that your brand proclaims that it's part of the skate niche, or that, like for this one, people that live in the Midwest or whatever, right? They're not trying to say like we're a clothing brand for people in the Midwest. Obviously, that would be absurd. And so it's like you have to make sure that you find out exactly what your niche consumers timeline or explore page or feed in general looks like, and you make content that fits into that and weave your product into it. So if you want to know exactly how to actually build content campaigns and things like that out that fit the marketing aspects that I'm talking about in this video, and basically drag you out of, being a normie like 99% of the other brands, all you have to do is join my free bootcamp. And you can find that in the description below. Click the link, it'll be on there. And I give it all away for free. You basically just go right in there. It's about an hour-long training on exactly how to break this down for your brand. If you haven't done this for your brand, if you haven't actually figured out what your niche consumer is and like figuring out how to make content for that, you're just simply going to be gone in like a year to 2 years. That's just how it's going, especially with AI and all this stuff. You have to really build basically a cult behind your brand. And those are the best brands out there. The ones that do the best are the ones with the most diehard fans, right? So go ahead and do that. Subscribe, like this video, do all that stuff for my small channel to help me out. And I'll see you in other videos.